All right. Well, today I'll be teaching you guys how to calculate true wind from ship's course and speed and apparent wind, course, and speed. I'll be using a maneuvering board since I don't have any radar plotting sheets, and we'll be using the 3-to-1 scale right here. The variables that I like to use are P, R, and Q. P to Q indicates our ship's course and speed. R to P shows our apparent wind, course, and speed. And R to Q is our true wind and speed, true wind, direction, and speed. First problem that we'll be doing, we'll have our ship's course at 000 at 12 knots. Apparent wind 050 degrees true at 20 knots. So let's get that out of the way. Start off with our dividers here, and we'll measure out 12 knots on our 3-to-1 scale. Straight line. This point here will be labeled Q. This point here will be labeled P. You can see that's the direction that we are heading. Next up, we need to plot our apparent wind. Remember, wind is from, current is to. So we'll start off here, measuring out 20 knots, since that's our wind speed. Come up here, 20. Measure it from the middle. Mark that. And we will now find that and good enough. Again, that is P. This is labeled R. And since wind is from, our R is going towards P. Next up, what's our true wind? Remember, it is R to Q. So we'll come here. Line them up. R to Q. There we go. This is our true wind and speed. So we can find our speed by taking our dividers. One leg on Q, one leg on R. 15 and a half. 15 and a half knots. Probably should have labeled these. Let's do that now. 000 degrees true at 12 knots. Here we have 050 degrees true at 20 knots. And now we'll do this. Line them up. Good enough for me. And we can see that lines up right there at 87. So we can say 087 degrees true. And that, my friends, is true wind. Here we go. First problem done. Now we've got a second problem. We'll have our ship's course at 280 degrees true at 18 knots. Apparent wind, 100 degrees true at 13 knots. we'll do the same thing. So we'll measure out 18 with our dividers on our scale. Come up to 80. Mark that there. Remember, that is Q. And we still have our P. Let's draw that real quick. And we are heading towards 280. Our apparent wind is coming from 100 degrees true at 13 knots. So let's measure out 13. $1,300. Measure from the middle. There's our distance. That will be R. And then back to P. Remember, R to P, wind is from, current is to. So as we can see, you know, our wind is coming astern of us. It's pushing us. We have our P, we have our Q, and we have our R. What did I say earlier about what our true wind is? R to Q is our true wind. So we can see R is here, Q is there. What do? Spread these things out. One leg, one leg. Come here, we can say that is a nice 31 knots. Wrote that on the wrong side, but whatever. 31 knots, and then you can see we're already on our course. So true wind is coming from 100 degrees true. There we go. Pretty simple, huh? Last but not least, we have this example here. Ship's course at 140 degrees at 24 knots, and apparent wind coming from 225 degrees true at 20 knots. Let's do that real quick. Our dividers, measure out 24. 140 degrees. Where's that at? Right here. There's our Q. P to Q. Ship's heading. Let's write this time. 140 degrees true at 24 knots. Apparent wind is coming from 225 at 20 knots. Let's come here. 20 knots. We'll go over to, what did I say, 225, right? Put that thing in there. That's our R. There we go. And that is 225 degrees true at 20 knots. All right. Ship is heading this way. Wind is heading this way. So now all that's left to do, put our R to Q vector. Flip this around, make it a little easier. R to Q, R to Q. So now, put one leg on R, other leg on Q, come to our scale. We can see it's a nice 30 knots. And then, what is our course? Let's find out. Come here. Bring it to the middle. Mess that up a little bit. Let's move it back. And we can see here, it appears to be 278. So, our true wind is coming from 278 degrees true at 30 knots. Hopefully that explained it to you guys enough, or well enough, not sure. But remember, this is all you really need to know. P to Q is your ship's course and speed. R to P is wind, and R to Q is your true wind. Always measure from the middle of the chart, middle of the plot, sorry, and always use the same scale. Thank you, and bye-bye.